My sister stole my business idea and started her own brand. When I saw her Instagram post announcing a $500,000 investment deal, my blood boiled. I called her and said, "You do know that patent is in my name, right?" She laughed until I showed up with the documents. Her investors were stunned when I never thought I'd be the kind of person to drag my own sister into a legal battle. But life has a way of forcing you into situations you never imagined. And when someone takes everything you've built, everything you've sacrificed for, you either fight back or you let them walk all over you. I chose to fight. It started on an ordinary Thursday morning. I had just brewed my coffee, too strong, as always, and was sitting at my kitchen table, half asleep, when I did what I always do first thing in the morning, scroll through my phone. That's when I saw it. An Instagram post from my sister, excited to announce my new company, Elevate Desk Company. Rocket just secured a $500,000 investment to bring our innovative, adjustable workspace solutions to market. Hashtag entrepreneur, hashtag game changer. I read it twice. Then a third time. It felt like my stomach had been hollowed out. There she was, Sophia Carter, my younger sister, standing in a fancy office with two men in suits. She was smiling, shaking their hands, posing in front of a sleek, modern desk. A desk that looked exactly like mine. I sat there, frozen, my coffee cooling in my hand. I knew that desk. I had spent 3 years designing it. I had filed the patent myself. And now? Now, it was all over her social media, like it was her idea. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. A deep, ugly anger started building in my chest, tightening like a vice. I wasn't even thinking when I grabbed my phone and called her. My hands were shaking so badly that I nearly dropped it. She answered on the second ring. "Ray," she chirped, like nothing was wrong. "Hey, what's up?" I took a slow breath. My voice came out sharper than I intended. "You do know that patent is in my name, right?" There was a beat of silence. Then she laughed. A light, breathy chuckle, as if I had just told her a joke. "Oh my God, Ray, come on," she said, still amused. "Patents are complicated. And honestly, you never actually launched, so it's not like." I gripped the phone tighter. "So what?" Sophia sighed. "So, maybe this is actually a good thing. Investors don't back people who just sit on an idea forever. They back people who make things happen." I nearly saw red. "So you stole my idea because I wasn't moving fast enough?" "It's not stealing, Ray," she snapped, suddenly defensive. "I improved it. I made it marketable. I got investors. I mean, for God's sake, you weren't doing anything with it." My jaw clenched so hard it ached. I had worked nights, weekends, missed birthdays, skipped vacations, all because I was trying to build this company the right way. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't about to rush into something just because I was impatient. And now, my own sister was telling me that because I had been careful, because I had been smart, she thought it was fair game to take what was mine. I forced myself to keep my voice steady. "That design belongs to me, Sophia." "Ray," she sighed, like I was being difficult. "You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I took a deep breath. Then another. And then I said, as calmly as I could, "We'll see what your investors think when I show them the paperwork." And then I hung up. She called me back immediately, but I didn't answer, because I was already on my way to my lawyer. I walked into the Silver Oak Ventures office the next morning without an appointment. The receptionist, a young woman with neat blonde hair, looked up, startled. "Sir, do you have an? I need to speak with whoever's in charge of funding Elevate Desk Company," I said. My voice was steady, but I could feel the anger boiling under my skin. "I'm sorry, but," a voice cut through the room. "Mr. Carter?" I turned. A tall, graying man in a navy suit was standing by the conference room, watching me with mild curiosity. "Yeah," I said, adjusting my stance. "And you are?" "David Klein. I lead investments for Silver Oak. What can I do for you?" I exhaled. "Good. I wanted someone high up. Someone who actually had the power to fix this." I stepped forward and pulled a thick manila folder from my bag. "You're about to lose a lot of money," I said. "Because the product Sophia Carter just pitched to you? It's not hers to sell." Klein raised an eyebrow. "Is that so?" I handed him the folder. Patent records, timestamps, full documentation. Everything that proves that design belongs to me. His eyes flicked over the pages. Then, slowly, his expression changed. I watched as his brows knit together, as his lips pressed into a tight line. Sophia, who had been silent this entire time, suddenly stepped forward, eyes wide. "Ray," Klein cut her off. "Miss Carter, is this true?" She hesitated. That tiny pause was all it took. Klein's jaw tensed. He turned to one of his colleagues, a serious-looking man in a charcoal suit. "Call legal," he said shortly. "We need to reevaluate our contract with Miss Carter." Sophia let out a nervous laugh. "Wait, hold on. We can talk about this." But Klein wasn't listening. I didn't say anything else. I didn't need to. Because the moment he closed that folder, I knew. She had just lost everything. That night, Sophia called me. I stared at my phone as it rang. 5 times. 6. Then I picked up. "You ruined me," she whispered. I let the silence stretch between us. Then, Finally, I said, no, you did that yourself. She exhaled sharply. You could have just worked with me. We could have built this together. You didn't give me a choice. A pause. Then, a bitter laugh. Well, she said, voice tight. I hope you're happy. And then, she hung up. I sat there for a long time, staring at my phone. I should have felt victorious. But all I felt was exhausted. Because winning against your own family? It never really feels like winning. I sat in my apartment, staring at the phone like it might ring again. But it didn't. Sophia was silent now. And that silence felt heavier than any argument we'd ever had. I exhaled, running a hand down my face. My living room was dimly lit. The only sound the soft hum of my fridge in the background. The adrenaline that had been keeping me upright for the past 2 days was finally wearing off, leaving behind a dull ache in my chest. I had won, but somehow, it still felt like I had lost something, too. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and left my apartment. I needed air. By the time Monday morning rolled around, Sophia's little company had officially collapsed. Silver Oak pulled their funding. The investors walked. Her Instagram announcement was still live, but now the comments had turned. People were asking questions. Didn't your brother design this first? Why are people saying this is stolen? What's going on? Sophia, who usually lived for social media, had gone completely silent. I should have felt relieved. Instead, all I felt was tense. Because if I knew my sister, and I did, she wasn't just going to take this loss and move on. She was going to come back swinging. And I was right. Tuesday morning, I was in my small rented office space, where I'd been working on finalizing some new manufacturing plans, when my phone rang. Mom. I groaned. I already knew how this was going to go. I answered anyway. Raymond, she said, her voice tight. What in the world did you do to your sister? I closed my eyes, pinching the bridge of my nose. Mom. She came over in tears last night. Ray, she interrupted. She said you went behind her back, sabotaged her business. I let out a sharp laugh. Sabotaged? Mom. She stole my entire design. She told me you were just sitting on it, Mom countered. That she actually got investors and made things happen. I could feel the heat rising in my chest again. So that makes it okay to steal? Ray, she's your sister. Yeah, and she's the one who decided to screw me over first. Mom sighed heavily. Do you know what she said to me last night? That she's ruined. That you destroyed her reputation. That she... I clenched my jaw. Mom, I don't care what she said. I care about facts. And the fact is, she took my work and passed it off as her own. She just wanted to make something of herself. Mom argued. She was trying to prove she could be successful. And you. She tried to be successful at my expense. I snapped. And you know what? If she had come to me, if she had asked to partner up, I probably would have said yes. But she didn't. She just decided to cut me out completely. Silence. Mom's voice softened. I know she should have talked to you first. But, Ray, she's your sister. Family is supposed to forgive. I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. Forgiveness is earned, Mom, I said. And Sophia hasn't earned a damn thing. Mom let out another tired sigh. I just don't want this to ruin our family. I almost laughed. Our family. This family had been lopsided for as long as I could remember. Sophia had always been the favorite, the golden child who could do no wrong. I had been the quiet one, the one who didn't demand attention, the one who just worked hard and stayed out of the drama. Maybe that was my mistake. Maybe, if I had made more noise, if I had demanded more recognition, this wouldn't have happened. But it had. And there was no going back now. I have to go, Mom, I said finally. Ray. I hung up before she could finish. I wasn't going to apologize. And I sure as HLL wasn't going to back down. 2 days later, I got an email. From a lawyer. I read the subject line twice. Cease and desist. Allegations of defamation and business interference. I leaned back in my chair, let out a slow breath, and muttered, unbelievable. I clicked it open. It was a formal letter from some fancy law firm in Houston, claiming that I had willfully and maliciously interfered with Sophia's business opportunities, spread false and damaging statements, and, my personal favorite, that I had acted out of personal vendetta rather than genuine concern for intellectual property rights. I let out a sharp laugh. So this was her play. She knew she couldn't win in actual court. I had the patent, the records, everything proving that she stole my design. So now? Now she was trying to BLLY me into silence. I immediately called my own lawyer. Yeah, this is nonsense, he said after skimming the email. She has no case. She's just trying to scare you. Think she'll actually go through with it? I asked. He paused. She might. But even if she does, we'll win. Hands down. I exhaled. So what do we do? He chuckled. We send her a letter back. But a much scarier one. And we did. By the end of the day, my lawyer had fired off a BR-TAL response. If Sophia pursued this any further, we wouldn't just fight back. We'd countersue for damages. I'd sue for theft of intellectual property. I'd sue for fraudulent misrepresentation. I'd make damn sure she lost more than just an investment deal. I sent the email, leaned back in my chair, and waited. And sure enough, she backed off. No lawsuit. No further threats. Just silence. But I knew it wasn't over. Because Sophia? She wasn't the type to accept defeat gracefully. And if I knew her at all, I knew she was already plotting her next move. I knew Sophia wouldn't let this go. For weeks, I waited for her next move, because there was no way she was just going to fade into the background after losing everything. My sister had never been good at accepting consequences. She always found a way to blame someone else, play the victim, or wriggle out of responsibility. So when she finally reappeared, I wasn't surprised. But what she did, that was a new low. It happened on a random Wednesday morning. I had just arrived at my new office, an actual leased space, since my business was finally taking off, when I got a message from an old college friend, Adam Harper. Adam was a tech entrepreneur who ran a startup in Dallas. We weren't super close, but we had stayed in touch over the years, mostly through LinkedIn. His message was short. Hey man, just saw this. Thought you should know. Attached was a screenshot of a LinkedIn post. I clicked on it, my stomach tightening as I read the words. Excited to introduce my newest venture, Carter Innovations, bringing smart workspace solutions to the modern professional. Stay tuned for our first product launch. And there, at the top of the post, Sophia Carter's name. I felt something cold settle in my chest. She was using our last name. She had no product, no patents, nothing. But she was trying to leverage our name to position herself as some kind of industry leader. She was hoping people would assume she was connected to me. And worst of all, people were falling for it. The comments were full of venture capitalists, startup founders, business insiders congratulating her, asking when she was launching, offering to set up meetings. I exhaled slowly, my fingers tightening around my phone. She had lost Elevate Desk Company, but instead of accepting defeat, she was trying to steal my credibility. Again, and I wasn't about to let that happen. I didn't call her. I didn't argue. I didn't even give her the chance to defend herself. This time, I went straight for the KLL. First, I called my lawyer. We're shutting this down. Now. He didn't even hesitate. On it. Within 2 hours, a cease and desist was sent, legally forbidding her from using the Carter name in business in a misleading way. That was just the start. Next, I made one call to Adam, the guy who had tipped me off. Mind doing me a favor? I asked. Depends, he said, amused. I grinned. Spread the word. Sophia Carter is a fraud. Adam didn't ask questions. He just said, consider it done. And within 24 hours, the entire startup community in Texas knew exactly what Sophia had done. Investors started backing away. Potential partners canceled meetings. By the time Friday rolled around, her LinkedIn post was flooded with comments from people calling her out. Wait, didn't your brother already launch this? Are you affiliated with Carter Desk? Why are people saying this is stolen work? The next time I checked, the post was gone. And Sophia? She was silent. But I wasn't finished yet. The last piece of my plan. I made sure she would never be able to do this again. Using my connections, I spread the story far and wide. I didn't just tell people what she did to me. I let them see the proof. I shared the patent filings, the documents, the emails, the full timeline of how she had stolen my work, lost her funding, and then tried to rebrand herself using our family name. I made sure every investor, every business leader, every startup incubator in the state of Texas knew that Sophia Carter was not to be trusted. And it worked. By the end of the month, she was completely blacklisted. No one wanted to touch her. Her LinkedIn profile went dark. Her social media became a ghost town. She tried one last time to salvage her reputation by applying for a corporate job in Austin. But guess what? I knew the hiring manager. One quiet conversation later, she was rejected. Sophia Carter wasn't just out of the startup world. She was out of every opportunity that required trust. Months passed. Carter Desk took off. I secured my own investors, built a team, and finally saw my work turn into a real, thriving business. I didn't hear from Sophia again. Not directly, at least. But I knew she had moved back home with my parents. I knew she was working some low-level marketing job, a far cry from the CEO she had tried to become. I knew she was watching from the sidelines as my company flourished. And that was enough for me. One night, months later, I got a text from her. Just 2 words. I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time. Then, I put my phone down, and I never responded. Because some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness. Revenge isn't always about hurting someone back. Sometimes, the best revenge is making sure they can never hurt you again. And if you do it right, they'll have to sit there and watch you win. And that's justice.